So a little bit of background. Started IMPLS Entertainment back in 2020. It was sort of like a culmination of a lot of effort put in the right ways, but like anything in life, luck is involved. We started the company right before the pandemic hit. So 2020 was a very optimistic year. I was personally coming out of leaving a full-time job in the family business. I was previously working with my father in the diamond industry. So totally not related to esports or gaming whatsoever. But the backstory is that while I was working in the diamond industry, I had started csgotoasia.com. That was a website founded by me and actually a co-founder of IMPLS, Gad Tan. Gad is the creative director of IMPLS today, but back then in 2016, we kind of started a side project. CS:GO was focused on Counter-Strike in the region. So I have a deep interest in Counter-Strike, always have been. It was the game that I started playing when I was 11 years old, right? Going to the LAN shops in Singapore. I'm sure you're familiar with that game.
Of course.
As most Singaporean males are. I think there's no such thing as a Singaporean male who's in his 30s who's never touched Counter-Strike, at least once, right? Now, what happened was I left the family business, started IMPLS Entertainment with Matthew, Harley, Gad, and myself. And the whole purpose of starting IMPLS was actually to start PaperX, the team. What we did, though, with IMPLS is we brought CS:GO to Asia as our media site under the umbrella. It was sort of to be a complementary product because we started PaperX as a Counter-Strike team. So the idea was having this Counter-Strike team, and the purpose was, can we make this team a top team? And as a byproduct of making a top team, the hope was there would be more interest in the APAC scene and APAC players within this game, which would only elevate CS:GO to Asia's brand value as well. Now, ironically, that has happened in the last 2.5 years, but not for Counter-Strike, but for Valorant. So the long story short is halfway through in 2021, Valorant came out in June of 2020, and we didn't act on it. It was a new kid on the block. It was a new game. No one really knew what the future would be, and it's a bit of a risk, right, to just dive into a new title. As a Counter-Strike team, we were looking at that with a lot of interest, and we started to notice how a lot of teams in APAC were making that transition. But the trend was more of like, if you're not good at Counter-Strike, just switch to Valorant, clean slate, fresh start, give it a go, right? But we didn't feel that need because our team was, well, we weren't as good as we are in Valorant today, but we were still a top team in Asia for Counter-Strike. Maybe just not the top 5, but like top 10 for sure. It was a struggle though, and eventually we made the transition in February of 2021.
Right.
And that's really when things kicked off, right? When we entered, it was a bit of a struggle for sure. It wasn't just like, just because you're good at Counter-Strike means you're good at Valorant. But that's the naivety that we did have at that time. We thought, well, we're a good team, so we're going to be good. But I think at the end of the day, it did turn out that way. It just took a year plus for us to find our footing and really prove ourselves. And today we're the top team in APAC for Valorant and top 5 in the world, according to some rankings out there.
Yeah, so you pretty much left you were in the gem industry previously, and then you decided to go in esports. Now, that was, like you said, it was probably because of the love of the game.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Then the thing is that now you're saying that you basically just took a group of friends and say, hey, let's build a team around what we think is going to be good.